And welcome to Indie Social. This is the podcast where I, Dylan Yeager,
And Michael Huntington.
interview independent filmmakers. Our guests come to the show to share with you, the audience, how they started in their filmmaking career. And maybe, just maybe, we get to learn a little bit more about them on a deeper and more personal level. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Indie Social. Cue the theme song.
Welcome to the show, Indie Social. I know you'll love our guest today, 'cause what we've got for sure will amaze. So take this time and put your stress aside and come with us. Don't be shy, just take a seat and enjoy the ride. Oh, we are Indie Social, yeah.
Our guest today is a film and theater actress who holds a close place to everyone's heart here in the Iowa film community. She has brought together so many creative people in the film industry, and if it wasn't for her, Iowa film wouldn't be thriving like it is today. You can see her in the Iowa film The Man in Purple, my dear friend, Jojo Munkee.
How you doing?
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Where are you based out of?
I am in Burlington, Iowa.
Burlington. Okay, that's where Emil's from.
Yes. I was surprised to see him here when I walked in.
Yeah, he's
A familiar face.
So funny story. We'll start right off here. I met Emil because of the table read that what was it that you were
Snake
in?
Alley.
Yeah, what was it called?
Oh, which one was that?
It was
that
the Mafia one.
It was the dinner.
The dinner.
The dinner. Yes, I met Emil off of that, and ever since that day, me and him have been best friends.
Awesome.
Yeah, we met, and
Jelly.
right. So yeah, and then as we've been talking to people, we realize that you play a part in everyone meeting, which is kind of intense, like crazy, right? To think that
Very.
you have played such a big
And
part in all these.
are you aware of this, that like just about everybody connected in the Iowa film community is connected because of you?
I don't know if I could accept full credit on that, but my head is inflating. So, I don't know if you can hear the air squeaking out my ears.
Well, it's true. It's a true story. I think just about every guest we've had on the show is, well, I met Dylan through JoJo, or I've got into film because of JoJo,
Shucks.
which I kind of want to talk about how you and I met. Do you remember how we met? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I kind of want to hear the story from you.
From my perspective, yeah, because I remember the first airing. You tried to tell the story, and it kind of got a little choppy, I think, and I was like, he left out details or gave
So you
like
take it away
twisted
from here.
details. I was like listening with this like intent. He got that wrong. So, my real last name you did get correct, because it sounded like you weren't quite sure at first. Just Johnson, but in the community I'm known as Munkee, Munkee. That's what I ask people to credit me in films when they want to credit me. But how I met Dylan was an interesting story. You covered the bit about how you met Thomas Savage, who then ultimately led you to me. Mm-hmm. And that was, you met him through, a sad circumstance.
Right.
He asked you to join in this freak show.
Well, I kind of begged.
Yeah.
I begged to be in
A
this
part of it.
freak show that eventually I found out as I was there that it was a burlesque show.
Yes.
But he left that part out, or maybe he didn't, and he's like, well, I mean...
He referred to it as a freak show.
He called it the freak show, and
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, can I do like a Sweeney Todd skit? And I honestly, if he said anything about it being a burlesque show, maybe in my mind, I didn't know what that was at the time, until Sammy did some burlesque. I was like, oh, I love the movie Burlesque.
He didn't really refer to it as a burlesque show to me either when he approached me about it, and that's the detail that you left out, was that I was actually a part of this burlesque show.
I thought about that today, and I wanted to make sure that...
So that is where you guys met.
Yeah.
Well, because at the time I was working at the Capitol Theater, and I'm also, my other talent aside from film is that I am belly dancer who dances with a sword. And I tried to get in with the belly dance troupe in Burlington, and basically got a hard no. Not for lack of my talent, but I won't foreclose why. I got the rejection.
Sure.
But anyway, I got the rejection. Thomas was a part of that troupe. Didn't like the reason for why I wasn't accepted into the troupe, and asked me if I wanted to join the freak show, is what he
So
he
you
told
also
me.
didn't know it was burlesque as well, right?
No, he didn't disclose that. Like, he said, yeah, it's just a bunch of, it's basically like one big talent show where, you know, it's like Cirque du Soleil. I mean, that was the image I had in my head.
That's
what
I
It was
had
like
too.
exactly like it was like a Cirque du Soleil type.
And I saw everybody dancing all sexy, and I
Yeah.
felt like I needed to do a sexy Sweeney Todd. You know,
So
we
what
were
did-
like
sure.
tying
what did
people
you
to the
perform
chairs
then?
So
seductively.
it was Epiphany from
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd. Yeah, you know, and I acted it out, the whole entire scene. It was a musical piece. But I just left out the sexy dancing. That I
You
should've
you
done.
could have made it sexy.
You
You,
could.
you
You
could have been
should've.
tying people to chairs with your
We need to do this.
ripped T-shirt.
So do you think the audience was kind of like
I got a dad bod now. I don't think there should be any ripped T-shirt going on.
I got a mom bod now. so.
was the audience like kind of like shocked at
The
your
show never
performance?
happened.
It,
Oh, it never happened?
yeah, that was the thing. It never ultimately happened. I think he did
Oh.
mention that in the
Oh,
first.
okay.
It didn't end up happening. It fell through.
There was a second try at it, but it became more burlesque, and I still wasn't doing sexy dancing.
Well, people were falling out of it for various reasons.
Sure.
Like our original burlesque leader, I guess, ended up pregnant, and so she had to drop out. And the person that tried to take over wasn't getting as much cooperation as she would have liked, and then just life got in the way. For me personally, I got another opportunity arose where I was asked to open for a local rock opera in Fairfield, and they were looking for Cirque du Soleil type material. And a friend of mine was in that rock opera and was like, I know a girl who can belly dance with a sword. And that's how I ended up actually getting to perform my bit.
So
it worked
how
out
did
for
you
me.
get into like belly dancing? That's kind of like a unique.
I'm having
talent.
coins thrown at me over
Right.
here. I can
Emil.
pick that up. Yeah. Emil wants to see more. I'm actually dancing right now.
That's her
He's
talent.
getting excited. Well, that's kind of an interesting, fun story.
Because it's definitely unique. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's
Yeah.
been kind of into that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of self-taught
Sure.
for the most part, at least on the sword dancing end of it. But I got into it because I lived in Germany. My mom was in the Air Force, and so we were stationed in Germany for a little while. And while I was there, I made a really good friend through high school who was Canadian. So I picked up a Canadian accent while living in Germany.
Wow, that's so. How old were you? You said you were in high school, right?
Yeah. This would have been, I was maybe 16.
Oh, okay,
At the
so
time.
did you pick up like any of the language? Did you have to learn it all while living in Germany?
I was kind of the makeshift interpreter for my family. 'Cause
Oh, wow.
I learned, even though I failed German terribly in
Picked
my
up on a few
class.
things at least.
Yeah, but I picked up things. I
Sure.
was able to at least, get directions from people
Right.
on the highway if I
How
needed to.
long
That's
were
what the
you in
rest of it was.
Germany then?
3 years.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow.
So this Canadian friend of mine, she lived a way cooler life than me, honestly. But she and her family would go and visit Egypt every so often. And while she was visiting Egypt one summer, she and her family were hanging out with like these Bedouin types, and they taught her how to belly dance. And when she came back after the summer, she was like, Jojo, I have to show you how to do this. And so she started teaching me how to do this belly dance, and she's like, and it's not like Shakira. It's better. So I learned kind of from her like how to do like the basic stuff. And from there, I just was hooked and
Just
started
kind of been doing it.
Yeah, so like I just started picking up on more of it, like watching videos and just learning different things and throwing it all together.
So
and
when did the sword come into play? Was that right away?
No, it wasn't right away. I got married.
Okay.
And my husband actually had a sword that he had bought at some Ren fair.
Sure.
And I picked it up one day, and because I had seen videos of the people who would balance swords on their heads while dancing. Oh, that's kind of cool. And he had this sword, and it's not a dance sword. It was just a decorative sort of, it was like a saber kind of thing.
But it was definitely real.
Yeah, it was definitely real. And it was hilted. And so just for fun, I decided to put it on my head to see if I could balance it. And I could. But as long as it was hilted, it could sit like upright like the actual dance swords do, because they're actually like balanced for the purpose of dancing. This one's not weighted for it. And yet when I unsheathed it, I tried it that way. And though it doesn't sit like the same way that a balanced sword does, I was still able to balance it. And then I thought, okay, I wonder what else I can do. So while I practiced balancing the sword on my head, I also tried different little belly dance moves and mimicking some of the dances that I would see in videos and things. And eventually I kind of came up with my own little routine, and it just stuck. And then I performed it actually in front of an audience for the first time at this freak show burlesque, and they were like, "We want you." So yeah, and so that's how that all got started.
Well, if it wasn't for the freak show, even though it went nowhere for us, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you, I mean, because shortly after the freak show fell apart is when we got into contact with each other for the Morris table read.
Yeah.
Which would have never happened if I didn't do Sweeney Todd
how
Burlesque.
was it that I approached you for? I know I think you had expressed interest because I put a shout out on Facebook for readers. I was needing readers for SNAF, and I think you had volunteered for that. You said you'd be interested in reading.
I showed interest into it because I didn't know there was like a film festival, like an independent film festival in Burlington that's been going on for quite a few years, and I've lived like 20 minutes away from it.
Yeah.
So that really intrigued me, and I just got back into theater I mean, I was just, I was thriving. The freak show, inspired me to get into acting again. And then, it was the film festival aspect of it that really caught my attention. And I think, I sent you a message and was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then you approached me with
Well, then I knew
Morris.
that you had stage presence, obviously, because I had seen you perform, and I thought, you might be a good one. And then I say problem, but I don't mean it like that. But it was I ran into difficulties with the script Morris. It was a very heavy, very difficult script. I have a lot of people that claim that they could do anything I'd throw at them. But Morris was very different.
Would you say that's like one of the most intense scripts that have came through SNAF?
I mean, we get a lot of intense scripts.
Sure.
But this was definitely the one that I would say was the most uncomfortable for people.
Sure.
I mean, we get a lot of horror and gore and sex themed stuff, but like the sexual content and some of the other ones that we've had are more like, something you would find sexy and
Right.
and fun and for entertainment. Morris actually touched on a very sensitive topic, and it made people very uncomfortable.
So when you got that script, was there any hesitation to read it, or?
that's where I honestly, and I admitted this to the writer as well, when I read it initially, and I'm the one who selects the scripts that are to be read for SNAF at our festival. I had sent it to a panel, sent it along with other scripts, and you might hear my watch go off every now and then, so I apologize. But I sent that one along with other scripts to my own selected panel of judges to kind of give like a grading for each one, because I could only select so many out of the number that we got. And so I would select, depending on the scores that I got back for all the different scripts, I would select the top. I think it was maybe 10 that year, 10 out of 12. So I had to drop like 2 of them. And after reading Morris, I was kind of actually hoping that that one would get voted out because it made me uncomfortable. But I think it struck enough of a, I don't know what word to use. I don't want to say nerve, but like it struck enough of something with the panel that it managed to get voted in. It was at the bottom of the top, but it made it in anyway. So then my challenge after the scripts were selected is to find readers willing to read them. I didn't have a lot of trouble filling the other scripts that made it in, but Morris was my most challenging to date to get readers for.
How many readers did you ended up needing to find?
For that one,
I know it's been a minute.
Gosh, how many would you say that was, Dylan? It's like it was
6 or 7, maybe.
Yeah, because there was like bit parts too for like Morris's friends and other different things that like a lot of things that were going on in Morris's head.
Right.
That
I would say anywhere between 8 to 10 readers.
Yeah. So one of the challenges I run into anyway with finding readers is I don't get many men because actresses are just a dime a dozen anywhere you go, and it's hard to find a lot of male actors to fill roles. And in Burlington especially, it seems like the demographic of actors that we have are so, because it's the Midwest and we're all like super nice and kosher and how to do polite. There's a few that don't mind doing like sexual content stuff or gore stuff, but it's hard to find people who are comfortable enough to do something as deep as what Morris had. So I actually sent the script to a few different people and with the pre-warning saying that this is very
graphic.
Not just graphic, but just it's a very uncomfortable subject.
Right.
And they all said, "Oh, I'm sure I can handle it, no problem." And then they would read through it and the next day get back to me and they'd be like, "Yeah, I don't know if I can do that. I just don't." I don't know if I want that attached to me. So I'm like, oh my gosh, who am I going to get to read for Morris?
What would happen if you didn't find people to read for that? Has that ever happened? It
has, and I would just end up pulling someone last minute usually.
Sure.
I've always been lucky enough to just find someone at the festival to pull up and say, I'm sorry, could you please read this role, even if it doesn't fit. Like I've pulled up, white men to read for black men roles and, stuff like that. You just do what you can do in a pinch.
Sure.
But for this one, I got super lucky because I thought, well, I still have Dylan on my list of potential male readers, and he'd be about the right age, and I mean, he was willing to do a freak show burlesque, so maybe we'll throw this at him. And I gave him the same warning that I gave everybody else. I was like, just so you know, this is really sensitive material, and he was like, yeah, I'll take a look at it. And so I sent it to him and just, hoped for the best and thought, yeah, he's going to get back to me in a little bit and just be like, no, I don't think I can do this. And he surprisingly got back to me fairly quickly and was like, wow. And that's what he exactly said that. He was just like, oh, wow. And I was like, oh, here it comes. Now he's going to follow up with that. Yeah, I don't think so. And I was surprised to hear, well, it's not what I was expecting, but I think I can do it. And I was like, really? I'm like, are you sure? This isn't gonna break you.
And you're also like,
so.
you're also the one who always does all the narration for all the scripts as well, right? Or you read the action lines and stuff. Was it hard to read the action lines for Morris since it was a script that you weren't really in love with?
A little bit, yeah. Although I had read through it enough times by the time we got to the reading that I felt it just kind of I became numb to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did give the pre-warning to everyone who was there, which wasn't many people anyway, but I did say, okay, now just so you all know, this is a very sensitive subject. It might make people uncomfortable, so just be aware that it may be triggering for some people. And so I gave that warning and went through it. Dylan performed it exactly as I would expect. And I don't know, did I kind of give you some pointers on it as far as like don't play it like it's farcical or
Well, you told me to keep my pants on.
Yeah.
But I even went up to all the actors and I was like, do you want to do it? I actually want to go through with it. Oh, we could probably just act it out, arm lengths away.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if I'm down to go all out. Well, I think our biggest.
Well, what I was worried about with it was that people would try to play it like without the seriousness that it was intended for. I thought it would be played dirty or gross, and I didn't want it to come across that way because I think it was, and it was intended to give a message. It wasn't supposed to be softcore porn. It was meant to deliver a message.
I think the script was just so intimidating that you were kind of forced to take it more seriously, which I think really helped with all of the actors on stage. Yeah. I can't remember if this was a conversation I had in my head or if we had it together, but I think our biggest thing was like, should Morris be like flamboyant because he's gay in the script?
Yeah,
that I had some difficulties with that. I was not sure.
Well, I think if I remember right, I think we all kind of sat down and had a serious talk the night before the reading. Mm-hmm. I don't know were you there for that conversation?
It was a long time ago.
Because even up to the day before the reading of Morris, like I was sitting with some of my other fellow film buddies. Like I know I was sitting with I hadn't yet met Michael. I know I was sitting with Wes, who did know Michael, and I asked him if he had read more, and he did because he was actually in it as well. He was the doctor, which we'll have to come back to as a subject later. But yeah, I had sent him the script as well and asked him if he would read as Morris's doctor, and so like we had a very serious discussion about it, and I was like, Wes, how do you feel about this script? Like, how do you think it should be? I mean, what is your take on it and everything? He's like, well, gosh, I know the writer very well, and I hope it's not autobiographical. And I was like, yeah, it's so intense. And I mean, and it turns out it was biographical, unfortunately, but we talking with him, I agreed, and I don't remember if were you there for that conversation?
I don't think I was, actually.
It was no, you weren't, because I saw you came and showed up the day of the read, and I didn't even recognize you because you'd kind of changed your look since I'd seen you at the because I remember you come up to me and you're like, hey, and I was like, hey, and who are you? And you're like,
I remember that.
You know who I am. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're Dylan.
Yeah, I had blonde No, I dyed my hair black for the freak show, but I
When I
cut
first
it.
met you, you'd had.
I wore a
thought
lot
you
of
had, like,
makeup
a
at the freak
bleach
show.
Blonde. Yeah, you weren't wearing your glasses either. And then when you
Yeah.
showed up for the read, you had glasses on. So I just like you had a totally different look, and I'm like, who are you? And then I felt ridiculous when I realized, oh, this is my hero because he's the one person who agreed to
do it.
read for Morris. And I was like, oh, bless your sweet little heart.
And
for
everything
taking this on.
changed after that.
Right. Well, you delivered it so well and so true to the character, and that was part of what just made me so nervous, was that he would be portrayed as a caricature, and you played him in a way that people got the message that they were supposed to get, that this is a sad story. This is a story about someone who was abused and needed help. This isn't something that's meant to turn the viewer on. It's meant to give a message of abuse and mental anguish, and and to say, hey, there's help out there. And I think that you brought that out very well, and that's what ended up landing you the role. Because the writer felt this was his story that he was telling, and you did it well. Like you put it out exactly how it was, and I think he was nervous. He was sitting on pins and needles the whole time too.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it'd be so hard to kind of like have your life be played out by the movie, it'd be crazy.
Yeah. So, and in the end, I was actually really glad that we did do it, because I got to know Michael, and it opened my eyes to things that I wouldn't have thought before, because I'd never personally been through it. I would have no idea what was going on in the mind of somebody who was going through that. And to learn that this was actually something like a story that somebody was trying to tell and was afraid to tell, but they got it out there anyway. I had so much, I was so proud of him, and I was so glad that, he got to tell his story. So even though initially I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do this one, I ended up being so glad that we did, because, it was actually great therapy for him to get something that had been haunting him his whole life, just out there for the world to see. And it made him super vulnerable, but it was a healing thing for him, and I was glad that we were able to do that for him.
Definitely.
So when did you realize in that moment in your life that you were meant to be an entertainer? You do a little bit of everything. I don't want to say just filmmaker. Well, I mean, you do a lot of film, you do a lot of theater.
Film, theater, singing, dancing, just entertaining in general.
You're always working. You're all over social media. I'm always seeing you doing something new.
Yeah.
So when did that really pick up in your life, or when did you have that moment where you this is who I am as a person?
If you asked my parents, they'd probably tell you it happened as soon as I was able to walk. I was probably inspired by just Disney movies, honestly. Cartoons where they would entertain, and I would be so just enamored by it. I would actually, I had a little kids table that I would climb on top of, and it would be my stage, and I would dance on it until it broke and I fell down and it hurt a lot, but I kept going anyway. Just put the table without the legs on the floor, and that was my stage. And I would put on silly hats and put on my parents' shoes
And put on shows for
and
your
just
parents.
put on shows
Awesome.
for my parents, and then later in life I would force my siblings and my cousins to perform in little skits that I would direct, and I would put costumes on them, and they would just bend to my will.
Well,
But,
while
yeah.
in Germany, did you do any theater or anything like that, or were you kind of just on a hiatus?
I did do theater a little bit in Germany. I was in the drama class, and I did do shows. I actually won a Best Actress award in Germany for my class, and they put on a big awards ceremony at the end of the year where they voted for the Best Actor and Best Actress, and things like that. And I got Best Actress for a role that I was in, a supporting role that I was in one of the shows that we put on.
It's awesome. So when you get back to America and stuff, like what were your steps to, like, did you continue to do theater, or when did filmmaking come into your life? Was it something you always wanted to kind of pursue, or?
Yes, for sure. It was kind of just, it was really cool how it all kind of unraveled. I got here and I got myself involved in volunteering with the theater. I learned that the Capitol Theater, where we now hold the Snake Alley Film Festival, it had sat dormant and boarded up for years. It closed in 1977. And
It's such a beautiful theater too. That's
yeah,
crazy.
and it was so sad to see that it was just sitting there going to waste and nobody doing anything with it. But they eventually formed a Friends of the Capitol Theater campaign and were able to get grants to restore it. And when I heard that they had restored it and it was open and they were needing volunteers, I was like, yes, I need to get in on that. So I went and I started volunteering, and at the time, Tina Salamone was the director there, and she has sadly since passed on, but she, I guess, saw a lot of potential in me while I was volunteering for the theater, and she asked me if I would like to volunteer for the film festival that was coming up. But she really talked it up. She's like, you really need to meet Lonnie. He was the spearheader of SNAF.
So how long was SNAF around before you were involved with it? Were you there for the first year?
I was not there for the first year. I was there for the second year.
Okay.
So Tina was really talking me up about it and telling me about how the first year had gone and how it was a lot of fun and how she thought I'd really enjoy it, and Lonnie was needing help and she thought I'd be a good addition to SNAF. And so they got, she introduced me to Lonnie, and he was like, yeah, it'd be great if you want to help out. We could really use you. And so they stuck me up in the projection room, and I never saw the light of day for that first year. And so that was pretty much it for me. I was up in the projection room switching out DVD after DVD after DVD for most of the day. But I got to see a lot of the films, and because I was a volunteer for SNAF, I was welcomed at the after parties, or SNAFter parties, as I coined the term.
I love it.
So I got to know a lot of the filmmakers that way, just chatting with the filmmakers, and one of them, who I think he had frequented SNAF for the first 3 years. I don't think I've seen him back since, but Phil Mayall was one who had submitted films there before and came back to view them, and just kind of fell in love with the scenery of Burlington, and thought that he would like to film one of his film ideas there. He loved that year one of our SNAFter parties was at Martini's, which, if you've ever been to Martini's, it's in an old hospital. It used to be a hospital.
Whoa.
And yeah, so it's up on the top floor, and when you're out on the balcony outside, you can look out, and it's just a beautiful view of the bridge and the river. And so while we were out there, Phil was taking pictures of the bridge and thought, wow, this would be like the perfect scenery for this film I want to film. And he actually got to talking to me because his daughter was going to be getting married, and he wanted to know more about the projector, because he was wanting to do some big thing for his daughter's wedding, and just wanted to know more about the function of the projector and how it worked, and if I would recommend it for putting on little movies at his daughter's wedding. And I was like, I don't know much about it. I'm just the projectionist. I just popped the DVD in and played it.
So what year was that when you guys were using DVDs?
Oh gosh, that was 2014.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of recent-ish.
Yeah. So yeah, really wasn't all that long ago.
So when did you guys move from doing DVDs to like letting people go through Film Freeway and stuff, or do people still give you DVDs?
That would be a Tad question.
Oh, okay, right. You're not in the projector room anymore.
No, I'm not.
Right,
I
forgot.
quickly
You've leveled
graduated. I've quickly graduated from the projector room. Now Tad's the only one who can do it. He's the only one that can be trusted to do it, and I applaud him for all the work he does to make it go so fluidly, because it was just such a cluster trying to do it with DVDs, and you never knew what was going to happen, and it had to be like a quick, it was like shutter, pop out, pop in, unshutter, play, and it had to, go smoothly, and I had to be sitting there ready to do it. And there was like one time I was getting ready to shutter at the end of the movie, and I hit something by mistake, and it cut the movie off, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
So then you guys had to go make an announcement or something? Like,
no,
hey, we'll be right back.
Well, what ended up happening, like Lonnie and Tina both come running up the stairs, and they're like, what happened? And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know, I was getting ready to shutter it, and I accidentally pushed a button, and it shut off, and they were like, it's okay, the filmmaker isn't here anyway, we'll just go on to the next one. So it was no big deal.
You guys do such a great job at SNAF, and it's still one of my favorite film festivals to go to. It's beautiful. I love how you guys do the Q&A. The award ceremony is fantastic. The after parties. I've been to a lot of film festivals, and SNAF just holds a close place to my heart. I love it. You guys do so well.
Yeah, it's definitely become my baby.
So when do you start preparing for the new year for SNAF? Like, when are you already on work, like getting to work to like scheduling things and?
Well, we have the follow-up meeting once it's concluded. Once we get like all the numbers in for ticket sales and everything, we go over, okay, so what worked this year, what didn't work, what do we want to try next year? And that's kind of when we start getting the idea of what we might want to change up or whatever. So we start kind of getting the idea at the conclusion of that year's SNAF.
Okay.
And then Tad does a whole lot of the footwork. Like, I pretty much just, like, I'm Santa Claus in this. I get the whole year off to just relax and bum around until, my Christmas comes around again.
So it's almost like a full-time job for him, huh? In a way. Like
in a way.
maybe,
It's definitely something that he thinks about all year long. As for me and Kara, who are we're kind of the hosts of the whole thing, Tad prefers to be the behind-the-scenes guy, which just works for him, and it works for us, too, because he gets a whole lot done that way.
Sure.
But I think it's something that we definitely anticipate and look forward to. And I know Kara is she's got a very creative mind. And so I think she spends like a lot of the year when she's not crazy busy doing other things, thinking about her own preparation, which she involves me in, which is the little film snippets that we end up showing. Yeah, the film skits that we put on at the award ceremony.
Right.
Yeah. So she usually does like a mock film preview and a music video that she writes the song herself.
Yeah.
And
so she's been doing the music video for a long time now, like a different music video every time.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
she kind of likes to pick things that reflect, pop culture for the year. Like the one year we did Hiss instead of Kiss because it was when oh gosh, what's his name? Prince. The artist formerly known as Prince passed away. So instead of Kiss, we did Hiss.
Because it's Snake.
Right, exactly, because it's
Love
Snake
it.
Alley. And so
Right.
she always tries to like come up with stuff like that to
Sure.
kind of like use pop culture and then also something to give a nod to SNAF, and SNAF or a snake or something. And she's very creative and clever with it.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of fun. Like you guys are having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks.
So
like
that's
a lot
kind of
fun.
where our planning is throughout the year, is just coming up with that sort of material and then
So
putting it
do
together.
you manage like getting the? I know you guys have like special guests sometimes. Like last year you had Greg Sestero. Is that his name?
Yeah.
How did you guys end up getting him? Did Tad reach out to him?
Yeah,
to get him?
again, that's
Okay.
all Tad.
Was that pretty crazy for you to know that he was going to be there? Because like I'm a big fan of the room, so I
Yeah.
thought it was super cool that he was there.
And you're the only festival in Iowa that like brings like these like celebrity guests. It's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
really
And then
cool.
you had that one guy that did Shrek.
Yeah, he's been my favorite guest so
Who's that?
far.
We got to play a board game with him. And he was so
yeah,
fun.
I was so flattered. He asked if he could walk me to the Snafter party, and I was like, "Yes, you can."
Who is it?
That was now I'm.
He played the Three Little Pigs.
Yeah, he did he did many
And he did the
voices.
animation.
Oh.
Yeah, he does the storyboarding for a lot of those
DreamWorks.
movies. So he was the voice of the Three Little Pigs, Pinocchio. Did he do the Gingerbread Man as well?
Oh, I love the Gingerbread Man. That'd be cool.
I don't know. I'm gonna get it wrong. That's right. Cody Cameron.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was my
name, yep.
favorite too. We did that apples to apples with him. That was
Yeah,
really fun.
we do. I invented a version of Apples to Apples called Filmmakers Apples to Apples, and we use the version that uses pictures instead of words.
It's a storyboard.
Yeah,
version of it.
so we used
So
we
much
used the
fun.
picture cards from this Apples to Apples game to create storyboards for our next award-winning film for next SNAF year. We have yet to actually make a film from our storyboards from those
That's gonna
games.
be our
but
mission.
Yeah,
I'll
we
help you
need
with
to
that.
one
We'll
of
do
these
it.
years. Yeah,
We're
I
gonna
hope
do it
so.
next year.
Let's do it.
So how much time did you get to hang out with Greg? Was he pretty cool? Weren't you involved on that big table read, right?
I was.
Yeah, that's gotta be cool.
I
to,
got
like,
to do the table read for the original
Theater
version of the
right?
script for The Room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
that
hilarious,
was
by
pretty
the way.
wild.
That was
yeah,
so funny.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, we didn't get to spend as much time with Greg as we would have liked.
Sure.
It was kind of a
Busy man.
flyby. He came in and then he had to catch another flight as soon as it was over.
Sure.
And so he couldn't really stick around as long as we would have liked to do. I gotta give a shout out to one of our other local filmmakers. Gosh, whose name is now that I've got Cody Cameron on my brain, I'm blanking on other names,
It's
and
okay,
he's
Dylan does it all
he's
the
gonna
time.
get so mad at me when I don't get it right. Reese. He's another. He started out as a student. The first year he submitted a film to us and actually won an award that year, which is like a huge thing for him. He has a YouTube and he's now on TikTok and he's getting a lot more followers there than on YouTube.
TikTok's blowing
so
up, man.
Yeah,
So if
I
you
need
want
to
do
figure
TikToks,
out.
do it.
I have not. I don't know anything about TikTok, but apparently it's working for everybody. So maybe I
Yeah,
gotta
it's like the
jump
new
on
Vine,
TikTok
man.
board.
So yeah.
But yeah, so this guy Reese, really good guy. He's been self-promoting the heck out of his lukewarm Christian film. It was originally supposed to be a short film, and it ended up being a feature because he could not stop filming, but he would keep getting these ideas and it just turned into a feature because he was like, oh, I gotta add this in, and I gotta add this in, and he was like, Jojo, you gotta be in my film, and I was like, okay, and so he had me come in and film just a little snippet that he was gonna use, and then he ended up cutting it anyway, and it
Aw.
ended up like, I mean, he still kind of put it in at
Right.
the end, the end credits,
Sure.
just a little, just to give me a little bit of face time, but it was fine. But he managed to talk Greg into being in this film of his, and he actually agreed to it, and I was just like, wow, man, you got a legit celebrity in your
Did he film the part there or?
Yeah, he filmed it in the bathroom of SNAF.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's crazy.
So you should actually look up.
Is it out?
Lukewarm Christian. Yeah, he has a link to it. I don't know if his name is still. I think he changed his name on Facebook to his character's name.
Oh, okay.
So it would be Fit Kettle Corn.
That's awesome.
FIT Kettle Corn.
Okay.
And his head's gonna blow up even bigger than mine if he listens to this podcast because he's been trying to get.
So Greg's in that Lukewarm Christian.
Yes,
That's crazy.
Greg Sestero has a cameo in Lukewarm Christian.
That's some marketing
Did
material right there.
did Greg ask for some big bucks for that?
Well, it was kind of funny because he actually says, like, one of his lines in this movie is, so are we going to talk about payment for my cameo in your film? And then you see the bathroom door swinging after Fit
That's
Kettle
awesome.
Corn takes off.
That's cool. It's cool that
yeah.
Greg agreed to do it though. You know.
Yeah,
And then,
I thought it
that's
was really
awesome.
sweet that he agreed to, do this thing for this, this rising star kid,
That's awesome. So, what would you say you like to do more? Would it be like theater or acting? Or
That was my question.
beat you to it.
like mines. I enjoy both, honestly, for different reasons. I would love to make it to Broadway someday, but, big dreams.
Sure. Hey, you can do it.
I really miss working at Players Workshop,
Mm-hmm.
the theater in Burlington.
Is that closed down now or?
No,
No,
I
it's
just,
still there.
it's too far away from me now, man.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then ever since I moved up this way, and I don't know if it's just my acting style changed with film, I've been kind of finding it kind of hard to get back into theater. I think I
Yeah.
lost my theatrical
Well,
touch.
you got so busy with film, and I don't know. I'm kind of like a little envious, honestly. I'm like, I wish I could get as much work as you get with film, honestly.
So, have you been in a lot of stuff? Would you say, or have you ever started anything?
As far as film, no.
Well, The Man in Purple, you got a lot of screen time,
Yeah.
and it
I
was
did
good.
get
That was a
some.
good film.
I got some good screen time.
You
in Man
and
in
Bryce's
Purple.
scene together is my favorite part of that
Yeah.
movie. It's so cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that one I think I've gotten the most screen time in than anything else. I guess I got a bit of screen time in. I just broke a ring.
Oh no.
It just fell off my finger
no.
and broke. Anyway, that's unfortunate. So I did, and the way I got my connection with, my foot in the door with Media Adventures is I got some screen time in Russ Fry's short called Cardon Gets a Taco.
Oh.
That one wasn't as popular with judges and groups that didn't win any awards, but I found it entertaining and I liked the script because it was just so out there and sci-fi and weird. And Russ is just he does a lot of Burlington historical documentary sort of stuff.
Did he do? God, I feel like I was there on one of the days that there was a longer historical documentary. I can't remember what it's called now.
It was probably
about the Fairfield. Was it
Russ's.
Fairfield or something like that? That he did it on?
He didn't do the Fairfield one.
Okay,
no.
so- okay.
There's another guy that did that one, but
okay.
he does very similar stuff to
Sure.
that. So he's mostly known around town as the documentary guy, and so when he submitted a script to SNAF, I was like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a boring documentary. I don't know how he would play that in a script read.
Sure.
But then I read it and I was like, this is actually quite endearing and I like it and it's silly and fun, and I was like, wow, Russ, I didn't know you had such a fun side. And he's actually had cameo appearances in a lot of since then in Kara's little short films for
I love the one this year. He was like being attacked by a snake.
Yeah, he's got a funny side,
He's
and
a
a lot of
funny
those
dude.
and a lot of that is improvised. Like we just tell him, okay, Russ, here's what we want you to do, and a lot of times he'll just be like, oh, I have my own idea for what I want to do, and we're like, you know what, go for it, Russ, and he cranks out magic. He's just this old man you would never suspect would be funny, and he's
Yeah,
just
I remember
hysterical.
him. He was hilarious. I
He's
didn't know
a
him by his
silly
name,
guy.
but yeah, I remember him now that you guys are talking about him.
Yeah, like he was kind of the main feature of the last couple of shorts. But anyway, he wrote Cardon Gets a Taco, and so he told me that since I liked it so much, I could take it and direct it and do what I want with it. And so he gave me free license to his script. He's like, because I don't plan on doing anything with it. It was just fun to write.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, all right, well, I'll see what I could do. And I hope that I didn't let him down.
Can people watch it now?
Yes, it's on Film Freeway. It's on
It's on Vimeo.
Vimeo. Yeah, it's loaded on Vimeo. I think it's on
Would it be on Media Adventures?
it's on Media Adventures.
On their website?
On their Vimeo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they were the ones who produced it for me, who agreed to film it and edit it and everything. So it's on theirs.
I'll have to check it out. I love Media Adventures, man. I love working with those guys. They're like my favorite people to work with right now.
Yeah, so and it was fun. It turned out fun. I don't know if it turned out exactly as I had envisioned it in my head, but the editing was fun. It was a very short film. I think it was only 12 minutes long, and it had a very 80s sci-fi jive to it, and it was just kind of silly. And I was the girl at the counter, taking the orders from these aliens that just showed up in, these humanoid aliens that decided to discuss business over a local taco. So yeah, it's a fun little film. So I got some screen time in that one too. That was the first one that I really had any speaking roles in. And then, of course, Chad wanted to use me in The Man in Purple.
Yeah, you did great.
So, thank you.
Yeah, you did really good. I didn't know you didn't do a lot of like acting stuff in films. I thought you've been in a lot of stuff actually.
I've been involved in a lot of things,
Yeah.
but I've never gotten any screen time. So I'm hoping, this will be some self-promotion.
Yeah.
and-
There you
Well, hey
go.
man, I'd love to work with you. So
I would love to work with
we
you.
make
I've been
stuff all the
kinda-
time.
My brain's been grinding up some stuff here.
Yeah.
And I remember,
It's-
like, you were saying that, like, you could find female actresses everywhere. I have a hard time finding female
Is that a
actresses.
fact?
Yeah, I
Well,
find more male actors.
I know one.
Yeah, so I'll hit you up, man. I have the hardest time finding female
Awesome.
actresses.
Good. Yeah,
So there
because
you go.
I would love
We gotta work
to
together.
do it.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well,
that'd be
let's do
sweet.
it. Let's
Well,
plan it.
it's your time. You've helped so many people out, and you help so many people get noticed. It's
Thank
your
you.
time to shine.
Yeah,
you
I
do
mean-
a hell of a stuff in theater. You're very active in the theater community, but
Yeah.
we just need to get you out into that film.
That's
community
right.
more.
I need to get my face out there in other places.
But I think
I'm wondering if it is harder for girls though, because Amanda Bean on our episode said the same thing. She's been having trouble.
It is because it's such a saturated. I don't want to say a saturated market, but I mean there's a lot of actresses out there, and a lot of really good looking women, and so it's very competitive.
Sure.
It's hard to, with so many women out there with so much talent, it's hard to get noticed, and
Right.
especially for me now that I'm a mother now. I'm a new mom relatively, so I've been busy momming.
Right.
And yeah, Dylan and I actually had a kid around the same time.
Oh, really?
We did, yeah.
You did, yeah.
We took red
We're-
carpet picture. Me and his girl took a red carpet picture with our bellies.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Did mine come before yours?
Yes.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, because my son was born in July. I was still pregnant during SNAF.
Okay.
And Yeah.
Jasper was born in April. Yeah.
Yep.
We still got to have that play date. They're about that
I
age now
know.
where they can play.
We were supposed to take a red carpet picture with the two of them after they were born.
Yeah, I made that. It's a tough choice being a parent. It's like, should I bring Jasper?
Yeah.
He would enjoy it more now than he
Right.
would have
Probably.
then.
We'll get them in their little tuxes this year.
Aw.
They both got to come. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I
Snap
took some red
2020.
picture photos. Kellum, who's my son, had his red carpet pictures already with me, but we still haven't gotten the two boys together.
Right.
But yeah, we need to. They've had their their prenatal pictures together. Now we need their postnatals. Fist
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be cool, like a side by side.
Yeah.
All right, so as we get close to wrapping up here, it's a fast hour, man. That was by so
Yeah.
quick.
They're
That's
going by
insane.
way too quick.
Yeah,
They
for
all
sure.
do.
So, we always ask at the end of the episode to our guests, kind of some inspiration for the fellow listeners out there. Someone, or a young JoJo in your case. What would you tell a young JoJo who's wanting to go out and pursue kind of her dreams of being an actress or being in theater or anything like that?
Oh,
I know it's a loaded question.
yeah.
It's tough.
Keep doing what you're doing. Don't hold back.
Well, alrighty, JoJo. Thank you so much for coming out.
Well, thank
I know
you.
you had a long drive, and it's been.
Yeah, I almost feel like I didn't get to talk to you enough, man. Like I want to talk to you more.
Right.
So you're
We'll
gonna have to come
more
back.
opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. You're gonna have to come back.
love to.
When we do season 2, we're gonna do video podcast then. So,
Yes.
So yeah, we'll have the audio on Spotify everywhere you can find podcast.
Oh, well,
and
that
but
means
YouTube now.
I'll have to actually put clothes on.
right. Yeah, we all have well. So.
YouTube though, it's gonna be there'll be a camera rolling and. Yeah, we're gonna bring back our favorite guest, and we've have so much more questions for you, and it was so hard to get you on the show, and then
Yeah.
I kind of feel like
Well,
we should
with
do a
all the
3-hour
name
episode.
drops I've had on here, I was like,
Yeah, you gotta
I feel
come on
like I
here.
should be here.
Yeah, you got to. And but real quick, I just want to say,
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool to finally meet you because, I know you from just everyone else. I've never
Gosh.
met you at any other point. I've seen you do the script read and stuff,
That's
but
so flattering.
yeah, I only know you because all these guys just love you so much.
Oh, thank
so
you.
It's really cool to meet you.
I love you all too.
You got a lot of fans.
Good. Now I have to go back and actually listen to all the podcasts.
There's been a lot, man. I feel like we
There's
should make
been
a
a lot,
compilation
yeah.
of
If you
everyone.
take a shot every time there's a name drop, you would
Oh,
probably
man.
Yeah,
be
you wouldn't
drunk
be
for
walking.
days.
Am I the one who's gotten the most name drops?
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Oh my
definitely.
gosh.
Absolutely. That and Morris would
I
be the
am-
other
I
one. I
am
think.
Morris and
Beyond-
JoJo are the
Beyond
big name
flattered.
drops.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys.
And so we just want to let you listeners know that we have 2 episodes left before we end season 1, and these next 2 episodes will be just me and Michael kind of chit-chatting, talking to you guys, and one of those episodes will be a Christmas special as well. So tune in, guys, because some crazy stuff is coming your way.